Hello everyone, and welcome to my Pantone postcard series. This is episode 5. Before I begin, be sure to like and subscribe, and let's see what I can come up with. At this point, I have completed 12 out of 100 cards, so we still have a lot more episodes to go. Today I'm starting off by picking out my colors, and I usually do 3 per episode, but I've been moving a little bit quickly, so later I go on and do 2 more. So I did 5 this episode, but I'm starting off first with this color, which doesn't have a name. It's one of those ones that's just left up to my imagination. So I thought it could be a skin tone color. So I thought something really fun would be to paint an eye on this one to just make it come to life a little bit more. I thought to do an eye just because, like I said, I thought it looked like a skin tone, so I wanted to incorporate that a little bit. I wanted the color to reflect what the idea was, so in order to make highlights and make details around the eye, I had to match the postcard first, and then I created darker and lighter versions of the postcard paint color. That way I could create shadows and highlights where I needed, and then I put on an eyebrow, did some eyeliner, we gotta make the eye look stylish, did my favorite part of the eyes, which is eyelashes. If you're an artist, let me know if you have a favorite part to drawing eyes, because something about adding the eyelashes is a special moment. And then it was time to actually add the color part to the eye, the iris, and I decided to do a blue eye just because I'd already used a lot of browns and such, so I wanted to add in a pop of color to the painting. And it was time to add the final touches, which I was very excited about. I think this one turned out really cool, and I think it was a good idea. I added these 3 little dots on the side just to add some more decoration. I thought it was kind of fun. And then this one was completed, and it was time to move on to the next color postcard, which did have a name, and the name of this postcard is Coral Haze, which made me think of the beach, because, coral is at the beach. And then I decided to make the paint color the color that the sky was going to be. So to do this, I started with the ocean, and I just used thin colors so that way some of the background would show through, so it looked like the sky was reflecting onto the ocean. And then again, I made the paint color, and that way I could make variations of color for the clouds and blend it into the postcard. So I added some clouds and some highlights. I wanted it to look like a beach sunset day. And at first I was going to leave it like that, but I thought it needed a little more color variation in the sky to sell that sunset idea. So I decided to do that and add a tiny little baby sun and some highlights on the water. And then this one was done as well, which again, I really liked, and I was having a lot of fun with these ones. This is that extra color I brought in that I was talking to you guys about before. I thought, we're going pretty fast on time. I'm liking how this is turning out. Might as well keep it going. So I picked this color, and it reminded me of a robin's egg, so that's what I decided to do for this one. To give the illusion of a 3-dimensional egg, I did some highlights, some shadows, and then I added a shadow to the ground as well, just to put it somewhere in the space so it didn't just look like a floating egg. That way it had, some resemblance of a background. And then this one was completed as well. So now it's time to move on to these 2 really bright, fun colors, and I decided to switch to Posca pens for these 2 designs. For this one, this is called Striking Purple, which made me think of a neon lightning bolt. You see what I'm doing there, right? Like, that makes sense, I think. So that's what I decided to go with. And so I tried to create like a neon or like lighting effect. So I went in with some different colors of purple to try and make it stand out, and I felt like it was kind of simple, so I added little things around it. I'm going to come back to that one later, but for now I'm going to start working on limeade. So I know limeade is a drink, but I wasn't really feeling that. I really liked this green color, and it made me think of like palm trees and just some sort of tropical plant life, so that's what I went with instead. So I started off with this dark green Posca pen and started outlining some shapes of leaves and just tropical plants. That's what I wanted the vibe to be, so that's what I started with. I wanted this card to resemble the jungle, so I added a lot of different types of plant life and just a lot of it. So yeah, I just started out with this base green color to create all of my plant shapes and all of the things I wanted to be included on this, and I wanted it to just be full of plants. So that's what I just went with, and I kept adding and adding until the card was completely full of all of these plants, and I even added more plants later because I really wanted it to be full of tropical life. So that's what I did for the beginning. And then I added some shadows to everything. I wanted it to have a little more dimension than just the lines. So I added in some details with the marker as well before I went on to add the next color green, which I'm actually not really sure about this color. I wish it was more of a lime type of green instead of a blue green. It's very blue minty almost, and I'm not really sure I love it with the rest of the colors, but I think I make it work in the end because I have a secret element that I use that I think just makes it the perfect color for the end result. But as of right now, it's a little minty. It throws off the color scheme a little bit in my opinion, but I make it work and just see what I do because I think it turns out really well in the end. While I let that layer of Posca pen paint dry, it was time to go back to the other card, so I wanted to brighten up the white that was in the middle of the lightning strike. That way it looked even more neon. I didn't get it as white as I wanted it to be, but I still think the effect shows through. So I finished up that card, and now it was time to move back to the limeade green card. And this is what I think brings the whole card to life. It doesn't look like much at first, but I take this gold gel pen and I outlined all of the plants and added in some details with the pen as well. And this made a huge difference, and it brought in some more warm colors to the card like the original color of the card is. So I think it helped offset that blue-green that seemed really drastic and different than the rest of it. So I think this is a really good decision, and it's also just insanely fun to use gel pens, especially when they're sparkly. So I do not regret this at all. I think it made the card. I mean, look at that. Do you see that shining? That is what I was looking for, and I think it saved this card. Here are the final two Pantone postcards that I did with the Posca pens. A lot of P's in that sentence. I think these ones turned out really cool, and I liked the effect that the Posca pen had on them. They're a little more simple, but still super cute. And then here are the three that I did with acrylic paint and hand painted, which, I mean, I hand did all of them, but you know what I mean, with a paintbrush. I really like these ones. I do think my favorite one turned out to be the eye, and I also really liked the Coral Haze Sunset. I think they both turned out really good. And here are all of the cards that I completed today together. Now I have 17 of them done, but there's still a lot more to go before we get all 100 completed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.